Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. We have more updates on crypto and more specifically with XRP and Ripple. And so let's go ahead and get straight to it. Here we can see that things are still pretty red overall. When we take a look at Bitcoin, it is slightly in the red for the day while I'm recording the video. We actually saw a lower point of it dropping below $60,000. This would be a second day in a row of it doing that, but currently sitting much closer to $61,000 and on the verge of turning green. At one point, it was green up at about $61,500. We are still seeing that pattern of red days, though. Volume quite high yesterday, not as much as we had on June 4th, but still very, very high. The volume for the day today is very low, and this is not surprising. Typically on weekends, things tend to slow down a tad bit. And what we're seeing here is 6 days of red candle closures, possibly going to be a full week's worth, just back to back to back red. It's very brutal right now. The Bollinger Band itself expanding out very wide, so there's a lot of activity taking place. There's a decent chance we're going to see that continue. We do have one daily candle closure for Bitcoin below the Fibonacci zone of $63,200. A possible second day, and if that does end up closing, it would suggest a weak trend, but it's still a trend that we might see a further continuation going on here. Not saying that the following day itself would necessarily be red. In fact, I would not be surprised if it tries to go up a little bit, trying to retest that $63,250, and then possibly getting rejected when we enter in on Monday and might see some further red territory there. But things can change very quick in this space. We have to keep an eye on what's going on in the major news. And with stock markets opening up again on Monday, we'll have to see how that plays out as well. A lot of people are looking at what's going on with this new IPO with SpaceX. A lot of people are looking to see how the rest of the stock market's going to move because, let's be for real, it is very, very inflated right now. Seeing all-time high, just repeated pattern. And that can only go on for so long until people want to take profits. So moving on, we have from Adam, everything just broke at once. Trillions were just wiped out in a single trading session. So we've got stocks, gold, silver, and Bitcoin. Everything got hit, and the reason is much bigger than one bad day on Wall Street. The official story is that a strong jobs report spooked markets because it puts pressure on the Fed to keep interest rates high. So more jobs equals more inflation. And that's true, but it's only part of the story. The deeper problem is that America is drowning in debt. Inflation is still running hot. Oil is climbing. And interest rates need to stay elevated to stop prices spiraling even higher. While the problem, the entire economy is addicted to cheap money. For over a decade, governments, corporations, and investors lived in a fantasy world of near zero interest rates. Money printing became normal, debt became normal, asset bubbles became normal. Now we're returning to reality. Then we have the AI bubble, the one thing holding up the market, the one story everyone believed could justify trillion-dollar valuations. And suddenly investors started asking the question they should have always been asking. What if we're paying too much? This is what just happened with Broadcom earnings. What if the AI revolution is real, but the valuations are insane? That's where panic starts. Markets don't collapse when everyone is pessimistic. They collapse when people realize the story they've been telling themselves no longer makes sense. America is approaching $40 trillion in debt. If rates stay high, debt servicing explodes. If rates fall, inflation explodes. They're trapped. This is why I keep saying the same thing. The biggest threat to the Western financial system is not China, it is not Russia, it is not Iran. It's the mountain of debt that can never realistically be repaid. It's a system that survives on money printing, asset inflation, and kicking the can down the road. Every year that becomes harder, the crisis becomes larger, the rescue becomes more expensive, and the lies become more obvious. This was not just a bad day in the market. It was another crack in a financial model that's reaching its limits. And that's why the shift toward a multipolar world is accelerating. Not because BRICS is forcing it, but because the old system is breaking under its own weight. That said, markets are going to new highs before they crash apocalyptically. Mark my words on that, not investment advice. So big oof there. And moving on, Senator Cynthia Loomis, to every developer, every founder, every holder who stuck with this through the hard years, the Clarity Act is for you. This is getting a ton of support. We are seeing people that are advocates for the Clarity Act trying to get it pushed through. And it is seeing a little bit of resistance here, but it's still looking quite hopeful right now. And up next, David Schwartz just laid out the roadmap for the XRP ledger. Tokenized securities and stocks, money market funds, tokenized repos and loans. You don't need a crystal ball to see the DTCC. And from Diana, XRP just flipped Bitcoin and Ethereum on South Korea's largest crypto exchange called Upbit. XRP's 24-hour trading volume has surged to $186.3 million on Upbit, overtaking both Bitcoin, which was at $162.5 million, and Ethereum at $146.4 million. This comes despite a market-wide sell-off showing XRP continues to dominate retail demand and the world's largest XRP holder exchange. And from BSCN, let's freaking go. Spot XRP ETF inflows are back in full swing. Net flows to spot Ripple ETFs in June are back in the green after the product saw a positive $3.383 million on June 4th. Inflows were net negative after the products witnessed a crushing negative $5.34 million on June 3rd. A daily outflow which ended a month-long inflow streak. The ETFs now hold 1.38% of XRP circulating supply, a figure which is growing steadily. And there is a crypto exchange called BTCC. If you guys have not heard of this, it's been around for 13 years. You get access to over 300 crypto futures, up to 250x leverage, no VPN or KYC required to get started, and there are bonuses. You get a 10% deposit bonus when you deposit over $500 USDT, and bonuses go all the way up to $10,055. If you want to research this more, or if you want to get started, you can find my referral link down in the description below. And from Ripple Zaidi, quick take, XRP weekly RSI hits rare oversold level seen once in history. Why that matters. A low RSI means an asset is deeply oversold. Selling pressure has been extreme and historically unsustainable at these levels. The last time XRP flashed this signal, it was the bottom before the recovery. So let's hope that is what we're going to be seeing this next time as well. And just in, weekly XRP RSI just crashed to 29.6. So essentially falling in line with what we're talking about there. And also, no clear sign retail sold XRP to fund SpaceX IPO despite speculation. So a lot of people are wondering how that SpaceX is going to go. A lot of people are calling it a big money grab, the biggest liquidity grab. There's accusations of that. And if you're curious about that, yeah, my understanding is that essentially it looks like most of that set of funds are already being set aside for the people up top, the people that are directly associated with SpaceX. So they would potentially be able to walk away making a huge amount of money because they already essentially control all of the shares, almost all the shares. All right. Now, let's go ahead and take a quick look at what's going on with XRP's price movement because it is actually slightly in the green for the day, which is nice. And Bitcoin, as I mentioned, is in the red, but almost on the verge of being green. At one point, it was green on the day. XRP itself, trying to hang in there. It is a little bit close to turning red. It would have to drop down below $1.10. It's actually closer right now to $1.11, but we're sitting at 110. And we also have those daily candle closures, just like Bitcoin. We've got 6 of them in a row. The Bollinger Band is expanding out a tad bit here. And we can also see that it has a pretty significant amount of space that it's going to need to move just to get back within that previous level of support that was that big triangle pattern we formed here in a previous video. I've been looking at this, monitoring it, seeing how it would go. We saw it get rejected there back on May 30th. But it did make an attempt. And once I got rejected, lo and behold, boom, really started to take a huge hit, right? Now, what I am a little bit concerned about, I'm going to zoom out for you guys, just be very real. I hope that this does not happen, but because we have a big drop taking place here, similar to what we were seeing taking place back on around January 29th, going all the way down to February 6th, and then started to come back up February 7th, right? I'm worried that we're going to see that drop down, essentially try to move in this sideways channel, testing the waters at around $1. And then within the Fibonacci sequence, trying to push down once again, looking at levels around 87 cents. So hopefully it breaks above stays above $1 and then breaks above $1.40. And then we can see a further continuation as it tries to get back to its previous all-time highs. But crypto itself in general is absolutely brutal right now, and so many projects are down over 50%, 75%. And that's what I got for you guys in today's video. I'll keep you guys posted. Thank you so much to my Patreon supporters. If you want to help show your support for me, you can find me Crypto Atlas there. And thank you also to my YouTube members. God bless, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.